So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, big thank you to Rosa Mendes for joining us on the show tonight. Of course, you can get the audio part of the interview downloaded on Blog Talk Radio or subscribe to iTunes. Leave a really good comment there and download it there. And of course, right now, we are live on Facebook. We are live. If you're listening to this live, we're live on Facebook through Wrestling Inc. And of course, after that, we'll go ahead and be on the Wrestling YouTube so you can see there as well. But right now, we are live as of this podcast. So we're going to have a lot of interaction just like we do every single week. We're going to have a lot of trivia. So this week we're going to talk about WrestleMania 14 and WrestleMania 15 trivia. So go back 22, 23 years. Go back. So we're going to have a lot of fun with WrestleMania. So we got what? WrestleMania 15, so 19 to 20 years. So it's not as bad as last week. It was further back, but not too much further back. So we're going to have some fun trivia for tonight, just like we do every single week. For the week this week, we're going to talk about title changes. Again, last week we talked about WrestleMania 1 through 6 title changes. This week we're going to talk about WrestleMania 7 through 13 title changes. Very interesting statistic, too, when we get to that, regarding the WWE Championship. So very, very interesting stuff as we continue to get people here loading up on the Facebook Live. We got Daniel Bryan to talk about. He has returned, and he is back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we got Raw, we got SmackDown, we got WrestleMania chat as well, and we got the headlines. So you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We got the Ultimate Deletion match as well, so we're going to talk about that as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we know what time it is. Headlines, here we go. So let's get right into Daniel Bryan chat. Daniel Bryan cleared to return, announced on WWE.com. Wow. This is big. This is huge. Good stuff. I mean, he hasn't competed in 3 years. I think it was like right after Mania. It was like a SmackDown tag team match, I believe it was, right after Mania in 2015. I think he was with John Cena. If I'm not mistaken, that was his last match. That was April of 2015. So it's been about 3 years since he's competed, and I know that that's a big struggle for him. I know it's huge as far as the struggle department is concerned regarding just him and his desire to want to come back. So that's big. That's big to see him back. That's big to know that he's finally been cleared after 2 years of rigorous testing. Many type of interviews, many interviews. I remember him being on the Edge and Christian podcast. I transcribed a bunch of that when he was saying just the testing that he's doing and the type of testing that he's getting, and just the fact that he just really, really wants to come back as a competitor. So I'm pulling for him. I really, really hope that we will get Daniel Bryan. But here's my thing. Here's my thing with Daniel Bryan. I sincerely hope that what's up, Jason? I sincerely hope that they don't have him do like a full-time schedule. I really hope they don't do that. I think Daniel Bryan, I think he's at the point right now that don't put him on full-time. Have him do matches that that aren't frequent. Don't put him in the ring like every week. I would do like a player coach type of thing, like Kurt Angle's doing, rare occasions on pay-per-views. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to make him too familiar, in competing every single week. That's how it was with Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio came back for the Royal Rumble, and basically he got this big old pop. But beforehand, he was, I think the last time we saw him, he was teaming up with Kalisto, and he was just kind of like not, no one really cared about him that much. So, that's the thing. I don't put him on all the time. Yeah, Tina, very good. He's a special attraction, is what she said. Absolutely. I agree. Jason says the same thing. And so, I really, really hope that, like has been said here in the chat, special attraction. That's what Daniel Bryan should be. Don't put him in a ring every week. Don't continue to have him just have random matches on SmackDown and just go against this person and that person. Do not do that. You do not want to do that with Daniel Bryan. Make him that featured attraction. Make him that, give him that part-time schedule, because as many people complain about part-timers, those are the people who draw the ratings, who make it exciting, make it more interesting. So that's what I would do with Daniel Bryan. Don't have him compete all the time. There's dream matches out there that would be better. There's dream matches for Daniel Bryan that would be more interesting if he didn't compete every week. That's the thing with Daniel Bryan. If he doesn't compete every week and he has those dream matches, I think that would be great. So for instance, you've got someone like, it'll most likely be him and Shane against Owens and Zayn, which I'm totally fine with. I actually called that on a podcast a few weeks back, and I've seen that. I've seen that direction for a while. And I think that it's going to happen. I'm totally fine with it. Put him back in the tag match. Don't have him be, Daniel Bryan gets itchy when he is in the ring, and he's all about the diving headbutt, and he's all about the suicide dive, and he gets really itchy when he gets in the ring to do those kind of risky stunts, risky spots. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that if I was Daniel Bryan. And I think that Shane McMahon, because he's all about spot fest as well. Have Shane McMahon do the spots. Daniel Bryan, stick to the ROH stuff, the final countdown, versus Nigel McGuinness and AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, the old ROH, Bryan Danielson, Matt Wrestler type stuff. I'm all for that. It was on SmackDown. I thought that he was already dazing because he did the whole running drop kicks and almost landed right, smack dab on his head. I'm like, okay, your first time in 3 years being active in a ring, and you're already making it tough, to see. And I think that you want to scale back, Daniel. I know it's tough, but at the same time, scale back. And we don't want to we don't want to have you already, leave and get concussed again. So very happy that he's back, and I'm pulling for him. He's he'll be 37 coming soon. So, still young in the business. I mean, still young as far as a person, but not necessarily in the wrestling business. He's been wrestling for almost 20 years. He's been in the business for almost 20 years. So he's a veteran in the wrestling business, so he doesn't have more years left. Definitely scale it down. Definitely make it something that's more attractive to the fans and that's not frequent. Let's bring in the co-host with the most, Evan Tech Proud, to give his thoughts on Daniel Bryan coming back. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good, man. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Thanks. I'm actually driving in my SUV on the way home because we're about to get a snowstorm, which is starting to happen now. Anyway, Daniel Bryan, I love that jacket. It reminded me of a jacket I had. That sports coat was nice, like a nice little church attire, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. It did. I did like the jacket.
went well too, and the Sox. But anyway, like I said, Daniel Bryan. I'm glad he's back. I got excited when we got the news earlier today. He did. All Daniel Bryan know how to do is to go full-fledged. He did go full-fledged, and in the promo, we're kind of on the Zayn. Robert was on air. They must show a little later tonight. And I already thought, I said, he's probably going to get attacked. And it was good. And like you said, he took a lot of bumps. He got kicked in the head about 2-3 times.
Yeah.
And, took that apron power bomb. And I'm like, dang, he just got cleared. Hopefully he can still be okay for Mania.
Right.
It's good to have him back.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It adds more excitement to WrestleMania, the Brock and Reigns, which we'll talk about later, which really didn't go over as well as WWE wanted to go. Just the addition of Daniel Bryan, because you see full-on table with Shane against Zayn and Owens definitely adds a lot of life.
Oh, yeah.
To a WrestleMania card. It seems to be right now still undecided.
Yeah.
We only got about 3-4 matches. They got concrete right now.
Well, there's more that's been confirmed, but yeah, I mean, the tag match, like I said, I tweeted this just real quick. We got Chris saying Nakamura versus Bryan. Yes, that was where I was going. I think SummerSlam, I would definitely like Nakamura versus Bryan. Granny saying that he likes the part-time idea for Daniel Bryan, no 200 days. Totally agree with that. He was talking about on Edge and Christian's podcast. He would like to do I think he said a Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk schedule, 60 days, 60, 70 days a year, which that's about two to 2.5, 2 to 3 times a month competing. I would even say less than that, actually.
Nakamura and Bryan sound awesome for SummerSlam, but let's not forget the one cash cow. You have to do Daniel Bryan against the Miz. This is a program that's been building up for over 2 years, and ever since the Miz did that promo on Talking Smack a couple years ago, he's been the most over thing called the heel. He's been the best heel in WWE for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And like you said, Bryan against Nakamura would be great, but they have to do a Nakamura. They have to do a Bryan versus Miz.
Yep.
It has to be a pay-per-view match.
I agree.
That's fine. You got to do that for Survivor Series. Don't do it on some throwaway pay-per-view like a fast lane bragging rights. No mercy. That has to be like one of the top 4. It is not.
I think that Money in the Bank would be good. Tina saying here, not a dream match, but DB versus Miz has to happen. I agree. That was another one of the matches that I was thinking of as far as what they need to do. And I think that it would be good. I think that there's a lot of build to that. I think there's a lot of backstory to that match, which would be pretty fun. Definitely not a dream match feel, but I think it definitely, got to strike while the iron's hot for sure. So Justin and Granny saying has to go back. No running drop kicks. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. No running drop kicks ever. As we saw on SmackDown, he's still on the running drop kick tip. And, I tell you, don't do it, Bryan. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't think there's. I don't even think there's a point. I don't even there's. I mean, it got a pretty good ovation, but who cares about you'll get an ovation regardless. Who cares about an ovation when it's sacrificing, brain injury, re-aggravation. So I don't think there's a need to it. Let's see who we got here. All right, let's get into the first trivia question for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. First trivia question for tonight. Who were a part of the dumpster match at WrestleMania 14? Who were a part of the dumpster match at WrestleMania 14? Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, the dumpster match. You got to scale back to 1998, ladies and gentlemen, and get you a little dumpster match in You got to remember who it is.
Did you just see the Jared laugh?
Oh. Yes, absolutely. JEFF, JARRE, T. That's double J. Oh. What did he say? The world's greatest singer, the world's greatest entertainer, and the world's greatest wrestler. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think we got some good answers here. Absolutely. The correct answer is Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie versus the New Age Outlaws. Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie versus the New Age Outlaws. Mark Henry has been announced to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well deserved. I don't think anybody could disagree with that whatsoever. 100% well deserved. He has been in the business. He's been in the WWE consistently for longer than anyone. Kane came there in 97. And let's see, I think it was 96 when Mark Henry came. Well, Yankum was 95, and then fake Diesel, and then Kane 97. So and then Henry 96, and just it's interesting because I've heard so many things when it comes to Mark Henry. I think it was somebody who said that he wasn't initially. I heard it somewhere. I forgot where it was, but he wasn't initially liked or backstage because he had like a big old contract. And I've even heard that there was some people in the creative team that kind of didn't like the fact that he had a 10-year contract. It was a big deal. He was the world's strongest man, and then eventually they kind of let go as far as investing in Mark Henry, and then so that the embarrassing things like the sexual chocolate and all that, and losing and so forth. But it's so funny because that ended up being to his benefit, because sexual chocolate, I don't know if that was intended to just kind of bury him a bit, but sexual chocolate, he was way over, with sexual chocolate and the Mark Henry, and the Mae Young stuff, he was super over. So yeah, absolutely. Granny saying 100% Hall of Fame for sure. Congrats to Mark Henry, 20 years in WWE. Yeah, 20 years, 22 years in the WWE. Chris said Mark Henry's been one of his favorites. Absolutely. I definitely think that he's well deserved. And the fact that he's been consistent in the WWE, no matter what was given to him, he was able to make lemonade out of lemons, and the sexual chocolate stuff, even the Nation of Domination stuff wasn't the best, but he made it, he made it something. And of course, he even had an opportunity, I think it was 2006 that he went against Taker at Mania. That was 22, I think it was, in the casket match. Having an opportunity to do that. Angle, had a big feud with Angle. I'm buddies with Sean Navari. He's talked about Mark Henry. So yeah, he was managing him during the Angle thing, and Hall of Pain, of course. That was just something that just came out of nowhere. That worked. Yeah, and it worked. It worked. That's just, and the the retirement speech that he had against John Cena and having a main event against Cena for the WWE Championship. You think it's that easy? I got a lot left in the tank. Just wow. That's what I do. Yes, the salmon blazer. Yes. Oh, I wasn't a big fan of the Teddy Long stuff. But at least, again, at least he worked with it. That's the thing. That's my point. He worked with it. He was handed it, but he still made something work, and so, well deserved for Mark Henry in the Hall of Fame, without a doubt. The very fact that he quietly retired last year, and we were a part of, I think he was in Andre Battle Royal. That was one of his last matches. I think he did something with Braun Strowman as well last year. Quietly retired, and I think, the next year after he retired, he goes into the Hall of Fame because it was one of those things that there's no argument to the fact that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I believe it was the Survivor Series, or it was the Rumble. It was one of those. He showed up at the little cap, and he went against Lawler.
Yeah, Jerry Lawler. Yep.
He went from having a fade and a beard, and he was with the Nation, and sexual chocolate, and he had his. He was with Teddy Long. He kind of had his singles run for a couple of months when Goldberg first showed up, where he just was there. He was wearing a different color types. He just had his dress.
Right.
It was very funny.
That F5 from Brock Lesnar.
The F5 from Brock.
Ooh.
He wrestled against Benoit on Raw, and a couple of his hair parts came apart.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then he came out the green. Me and my buddy were always joking about him coming out sweating all that wet. So the extras over his beard, and he was the Hall of Pain, and this was all coming out all wet. And like you said, he was over winning the world title. I forgot he beat Orton. He had a little quick run.
Yep. Justin just said, Justin saying even in WCW he was amazing there. Sure was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was an elimination chamber in February of one year, and I remember he eliminated 2 or 3 people, and I think he was like the last. He was like he eliminated by Cena. He was like the third to get eliminated, or he was like the final 3. And he was so over then. And I was being so like, why couldn't he just get this type of they gave it to Kane overnight. He didn't give it to Henry, but he deserved it. My question is, when did they decide to interview the Rock about Mark Henry? Did you catch that?
I did.
The Rock when he came back. That was like, so was that planned? Like, what is that whole time to interview the Rock? He just showed up randomly backstage. That's why he showed up Mark Henry. Oh, Mark is a great guy. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, I think eventually they were going to put him in. They have a bunch of B-roll stuff. You know what I mean, like all the time. They keep B-roll stuff just for little blurps like that. Even if it wasn't Hall of Fame related, that they'll make it B-roll. To kind of blurp it right there. So, it fit. I noticed that too. It was pretty interesting. Got a comment saying, thought Mark Henry was going to end the streak at WrestleMania 22, excuse me. I didn't think that, but I definitely think I was happy that Mark Henry got a spot against Taker at Mania. I think that even if you lost, to say that you were a part of the streak is just that's a big deal. I got another comment saying favorite match was the Monster Mash Battle Royal, him against Kane and Big Daddy V and Great Khali. I remember that match, ECW. D'Lo. Oh, I got a good question. We see D'Lo Brown in the Hall of Fame. Huh. D'Lo Brown in the Hall of Fame. I should text him and see. see if yeah. I could text him and see. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I've always liked D'Lo Brown. I loved him when I was during the Attitude Era. When I was in high school, it was so funny. And I said this when he was on my show a while ago. I don't know how long it's been since he's been on my show. A couple years back, probably. But I mentioned this on the show when he was on here. When I was a junior in high school during the Attitude Era, and the gym, the benches on the gym. 2015 is when he was on it. To April of 2015, so almost 3 years ago. All right, so you have the benches on the gym, and you can the bleachers, and you can push all of them back. And so when you push all the bleachers back to just give more room in the gym, you've got the ability to stand on the top bleacher, right? And so I was a junior because I would have seniors be like my henchmen. And it was so funny. We had a big old crash pad in my high school, and I would stand on top of the bleacher and I would have some upperclassmen. So I was like a sophomore, junior. I would have some upperclassmen like kind of be my henchmen, and I would just look at different people in the gym and I would point to them. And I would be like a ringleader, and they would grab them and they would lay them down. One person would like hold their feet, and the other person would hold their arms. And I would go all the way up to the top of the bleachers. So we're talking about 6-7 feet high, and I would do the most poetic looking lowdown that people, or the sky high is what it was called. The lowdown was the now the Titus does it, the Clash of the Titus or whatever. But the sky high was the sky high was the frog splash. When was it the lowdown? So yeah, lowdown. Okay, so low down was the frog splash. Yeah. Sky high was the pop up type of sit out power bomb. Yeah. So I would do the low down to low down. Yep, absolutely. So I would do the lowdown to the students on the crash pad all the time during recess in high school. It was so funny. And for those, just subscribe to YouTube, check it out. Check out the past interview. Just Google Pancakes and Powerslams, D'Lo Brown, and we talked about that on the show, and it was really fun. As far as him being in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to say no. As far as WWE putting him there, I think he achieved a lot, but it's kind of tough to argue D'Lo being in the Hall of Fame. Someone saying best European champion. I think that's hilarious. I think that he is the best European champion. I would absolutely agree with that, especially wearing the chest protector. So that was a lot of fun. Before we get into the next headline, let's get to the next trivia question. What was the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania 14? What was the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania 14? So last week we were talking about just the Raw promo that John Cena did with The Undertaker, and I wasn't a big fan of it. And it was one of those things that I think, good job, Chris. Good job. The Rock versus Ken Shamrock. That was quick. I love it when people are very quick with their answers. We got some wrestling scholars here on the live stream who knows their stuff, ladies and gentlemen, who knows their stuff. So Edge was talking about how he just wasn't a fan. I mean, he said he can't really. He said he might look at it again to see if he feels differently, but his initial thoughts is that he wasn't a fan of John Cena's promo. He thought it was hokey, is the word he used, and and this was last week's, not this week's, not last night's from Raw. We'll talk about that here shortly. But I agree with them. People liked them, but we were, I was tweeting with some friends, and they were big on the promo. They were fans of it, but I wasn't too much because I've shared this before. First of all, John Cena, he doesn't have to create his own path to WrestleMania. There's nothing to create. You're John Cena. Special shout out to Justin Roberts there. John Cena. That's who you are. I wrote an article recently. This will be his 14th WrestleMania. Because there was one in between that he didn't. He showed up, but he didn't compete. 32 when he was injured. He helped The Rock clear out the Riot family. But 14 WrestleManias that he competed. His record, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this? His record is 10-3. 10-3 at WrestleMania and 13 trips. 10-3. I mean, other than the streak, I don't think anyone who's competed over 10 matches at WrestleMania has a better Mania percentage than that. Maybe because Hogan, he didn't even compete in 10 Manias, did he? I think. Let me think. I got the first 13 here. So one, he was one he was in the tag match, so he won that, right? So 2 was Bundy, he won that. 3 he won Andre. 4 was the tournament, right? So he it was, I think it was like a no contest with him and Andre, wasn't it? I think it wasn't that it. I think it was a no contest with in the tournament with him and Andre. So it was like a double. Like I think the other person got a bye or something like that. Because I remember, I think it was a no contest, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe like a double count out or something like that ended up happening. It was, let's see, Hogan, double disqualification. Yep. So the quarterfinal tournament match and a double DQ. So it was a no contest. So it didn't. So they both of them. Yeah. Okay. So they were feuding. Yeah. Okay. So it's all coming back to me. So remember the main event where they stripped the title. Hogan and the double reps, the Hebners, and then Andre gets it, gives it to DiBiase, and then that's their big feud. And so the tournament comes. I think our boy, oh goodness, Jack Tunney. I think he announced it, if I'm not mistaken, because of all this, chaos that was going on. And Hogan and Andre got to skip the first round because of all the things that were going on, if I'm not mistaken. So they went against each other. It was a double count out, double disqualification. DiBiase gets the bye, so he only had to win one match as opposed to 2. We had to win 3. Well, he had to win 3 to get to the finals, and he only won 1. He beats Morocco Well, he won two. So he beat Duggan, and then he beat Morocco, and then he got a bye because of Hogan and Andre, and he automatically went to the finals. So everybody has a price, ladies and gentlemen. Savage beats Butch Reed, then Greg Valentine, then One Man Gang. Savage, man, they really pushed Savage at WrestleMania 4. They really put him over. Winning all those matches at WrestleMania, then Hogan comes out and and helps him, and has his type of his moment of WrestleMania fame as normal. So nothing for 4. I mean, the disqualification. 5, he beat Savage. Mega Powers Explode, and then 6 loses to Warrior. 7, he beats Slaughter. 8, he beats Sid. It was disqualification. He beats him, but disqualification. And then 9, he beat Yoko. And that was it. Yeah, that was it. I mean, the first 9 WrestleManias he was in, but he didn't have that. He didn't have that impressive record, that's for sure. So Cena has a much better impressive record than even Hogan, at Mania. So, carving a road to WrestleMania for John Cena, to me, is just it's a cheesy angle. I mean, I appreciate the challenge to Taker. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with challenging Taker, but I'm still very adamant about the fact that I don't want to see Taker. I'm going to see him. We're going to see him live in New Orleans at the Silverdome, as Hogan would say. We're going to see him. That moment, the gong. It's going to be riveting as always. But this whole thing, to me, especially since we're less than 3 weeks away from Mania and we still haven't seen Taker, I'm okay with if they're going to do this. If they're going to do this, you have to have Taker come out, but no physicality, none of that. But I don't want to see another week of Cena continuing to do these promos. I don't want to see that. Right.
I need to make my past a minute. Cena, you've been in the business for almost 20 years. You done made it in how many years? Won all these titles. You beat Flash Street, which I don't even know.
Well, tied it. It's not beat yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you tied it. It's like, come on, Cena. If you cry, I don't want Taker.
Right.
It was so virtually like you're John Cena, and you call him Undertaker a coward because he decides.
Right. Right.
And then you're going to throw it in WWE Universe and say, well, you're letting everybody down. When is Undertaker ever really cared?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Never did. Granted, those are the minions of the night, creatures of the night. The church is always
creatures. Yeah.
For that time, when Vince McMahon, I know you're going to get mad at us now. Remembering there's that time a couple years ago that Vince McMahon all of a sudden had some kind of power over Undertaker and forced Taker to face the Sunshine and hell and Mania. But besides that, Taker does stuff with his own returns. Like you said, all things is done. It comes out, takes 40 years to come out, with his robe and stands in somebody's face and look at the WrestleMania sign. He's the only person that doesn't point to the Mania sign. He just turns his head
and just looks at it.
And by the way,
right.
Please stop this cliche. And someone points at the media sign. Look at the media sign like there's some kind of.
Oh, that's not going away now. Yeah, that's not going away.
I don't know. I feel like it's so trivial. At least take a stare at it.
Yeah.
We was there live at media last year. We was there live. We talked the emotion. And the best send off probably the best send off in history.
Oh, yeah.
With Taker. And now, you have Taker coming back. We've seen him on Raw 25. He's coming back to face Cena. And then the question is, why? Well, granted, he felt like he didn't have the title plus the fight. So it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of seems anticlimactic, the fact that Mania ended the way it did. Yeah, we want to take her again.
Yes. Yes. And what does it do? That's not going to happen. See, you did it, man. You did it. I was hoping you didn't do it. No, I was hoping that didn't happen. Nobody. I mean, I really hope this is it. I mean, really. I mean, come on, Taker. Come on, Mark. Or as Tony Adams say about Mark Henry, mock. I would just mock Henry. Mock. The world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Yeah, Tony Atlas with his accent. Yeah, but Taker, come on. Last year, you and I both, Evan, said that 33 was the GOAT, but now I'm gonna have to take that back because Taker's coming back. Yes, I mean, I can't. I got to go back to 17 now. Yeah, so it's. Mm-hmm. 19, yeah.
Now it's like, it reminds me of Chance can back me up on it. And I'm not a big fan of Superman. I'm over that.
Mm-hmm.
But it reminds me back in the day of the 90s when it was the death of Superman. Superman got killed by David, and it was so, everyone felt it. It was so real. Superman is dead, and even I felt it. And then my friend, he comes back.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yep.
What? It's like, okay, we know about the death of Superman, David, and Bruno. So you're like, this was like, okay.
Yeah, I agree. There's no point. I mean, there's no point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he comes back in Justice League. It's kind of like, he wasn't going to go. It's like, come on, man. He shows up. I mean, I think Taker's going to win. I mean,
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that he can that he's going to lose 2 years in a row. There's Taker for his legacy, for Taker being Taker, for Taker just his, there's no way. There's no way that that's going to happen. Got a comment. A couple comments. The Triple H Taker looks at the Mania sign, that type of thing, and then another comment saying Cena versus Taker. I want to see it, but Taker has to show up this match to make sense before Mania. Come on, 2 weeks away. Yeah, I mean, I really hope that. I mean, if Taker comes back to Raw before Mania, he'll probably come back next week because it's going to be Cena versus Kane. But yeah, I mean, really, at the end, who cares though? I mean, it just. Yeah, it's been a while. He doesn't do the flying clothesline anymore, does he? Yeah. Yeah, he does. He does. He does do that. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
I know Kane's been in the business as long, just about long as Henry, but it's like there's no. Not to be funny, King Maxwell does more of a fear to me than Kane. Because you know Kane is going to come back and he's going to lose to Cena.
Yeah, of course he is. Here's the thing. Kane's a legend. I wish that Kane and Mickie James will retire this year so they can go. Both of them will be in the Hall of Fame next year. If they retire this year, just like Mark Henry last year. He's in the Hall of Fame this year because he retired last year. If Kane and Mickie James retire this year, they both will be in the Hall of Fame next year because they both have done so much for the business. I wish that I like Mickie James, and every time I see Mickie James on Raw, I'm like, she is a legend in the business, and why in the world is she relegated to being Alexa Bliss's lackey? It's just terrible. I cringe every single time I see Mickie James on Raw, and she's just not where she should be. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I hope she retires. I hope she gets an agent role, a trainer. I think she'd be perfect training in the Performance Center. Kane, he doesn't need no WWE job. Perhaps you got a mayor race coming up in less than 2 months. He could be mayor. He's been in politics for a while. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I got a comment saying last year was the perfect send-off. This doesn't make any sense in my opinion. I and both Evan agree that, this makes absolutely no sense at all. It's just one of those things that Taker, he still has that itch to wrestle. He's probably still having that big payday. He probably wants, he wants a new car or a new something, or wants to treat Michelle out or something like that. I don't know. Someone saying Mickey's only 38-ish. Don't like her spot either, though. Yeah, she's 38. She'll be 39 this year. She was born in 79, I believe. But she's been around for a while. She's been around for a while as far as the wrestling business is concerned. But here's the thing: it's just for her to create a 6-time women's champion, WrestleMania, against Trish Stratus, and just so many memorable moments during her time. To come back, to leave WWE as Mickie James, which was also terrible, and to come back, I liked her NXT thing against Asuka. I think that was a good way to put her over. And it's one of those things that now, when Mickie had that feud with Alexa Bliss for the title, I liked it because I think that's where she should be. She should be one of the headliners of the women's division. Now she's in, she was having some beef with Bliss. Now she's back to Chamber. After the Chamber, she just comes out with her on Raw and she's her lackey now. It just made absolutely no sense. Got a comment here that says, Salt plan that if Undertaker loses to John Cena at WrestleMania 34, then Vincent McMahon retires chairman. And then Triple H takes over as new chairman. I don't think that's planned. That's definitely not the plan. Why did I keep putting Bliss with anyone? Do they not have any confidence in her? I think Bliss is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Sometimes it helps with the heel, having her be with an accomplice, because it just really helps their character. So heels being with someone I don't mind, but make it someone not Mickie James because there's no point of having Mickie James with her. To be honest with you, I don't like Absolution at all. I think they're just I think they're premature. Sonya Deville's growing on me as a character. Mandy Rose, she's got the pinup, type of look to her, so I understand why they're doing that. But I'm just not a big fan of the group at all. I don't see anywhere going with them. I think Sonya Deville being a bodyguard for Alexa Bliss would have been better, honestly. Next trivia question. Who did The Undertaker defeat at WrestleMania 15? Speaking of The Undertaker, who did The Undertaker defeat at WrestleMania 15? Next headline before we get into Raw and SmackDown. Real quick, let's talk about Baron Corbin was revealing when he wanted to. A recent interview, he revealed when he was told to cash in his Money in Bank contract. I said like 2 hours before, and it's really interesting. I just found it really interesting that the Money in Bank contract winners find out that quick, to cash in. Just like Seth Rollins, there were. Basically, it's been reported, that he never. Good job, man. Chris is on a roll tonight. We're all the other people in the chat room. I think that you've got some stiff competition tonight. Christopher is on a roll. Big boss man. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things. That when it was Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins cashed in, Roman Reigns was supposed to win the title, and then they just didn't have enough confidence in him yet, so they had Seth Rollins do it. They pulled an audible backstage at Mania, which was really interesting, and end up working out. I think that was a good call because I don't think Reigns was ready to kind of be the one that beat Lesnar, be the upcoming star to beat Lesnar yet. In the past 3 years, I think he's grown leaps and bounds. I mean, he's a hard worker. I think he's really good in the ring. His promos getting much better than it used to be. So I think now is a very good time as opposed to 3 years ago. So I'm cool with that. But it really is interesting to see and to know, those backstage facts as far as, Rollins being the day of, almost right before the match, and then Corbin being told like a couple hours before. Unfortunately, Seth Rollins ended up probably having one of the most memorable cash-ins other than Ziggler, only cash in at Mania, and then Corbin ended up cashing on just a throwaway episode on SmackDown and losing. So it's polar opposites as far as success is concerned. But it's interesting to see, to know when those cash-ins occur and how much they know.
Baron Corbin, I still feel something wrong with down with that. Remember when Baron Corbin was cashing the Money in the Bank and we felt like it was some backstage politics? I just think it was. I like Baron Corbin and everything with the Money in the Bank and all he had. I just think the politics was kind of got, shunned a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
The way he lost Cena, just the whole. The way everything went down.
Yeah, the SummerSlam match. It was an opener. That was weird. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It seems to be doing okay now, but hey, one thing for sure, Corbin never was able to get over that. The John Cena curse still remains true.
That's true. Because he's just not John Cena. He's John Cena. Next question. Who won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 14 and 15? How about that? Who won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 14 and 15? Very interesting question there. All right, so Mick Foley, before we get into Raw and SmackDown, quick thoughts on Raw and SmackDown. Foley thinks Vader and Chyna should be in the Hall of Fame. I've said this plenty of times. I think Vader absolutely, Chyna absolutely. Of course, I'm not a fan of Chyna's, extracurricular activities when she was still with us on this side. Good job, Eric. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin. But yeah, it's one of those things that as a competitor now here's my logic with this. Now I didn't agree with Chyna's extracurricular activities. But here's the thing. With Sonny it's just one of those things that she's becoming like she's going to jail. You know, it's one of those things that she's going to jail for this stuff that she's doing. She's multiple alcohol issues that can cause people lives, and that's the thing with Sunny as far as like, man, you need to chill. Chyna's deal was her personal preference that, just as a firm believer, I don't roll that way. But at the same time, it's like Chyna making her decisions, and then Benoit, who just committed like evil, heinous acts. You know what I mean? Like, he's a criminal, he's a murderer. To me, it's like there's a line of demarcation. It's like Chyna doing her personal stuff, and then of course she had alcohol issues as well and drug issues. But Benoit, there's no justification, with Benoit, and that was just evil. Unfortunately, that happened. You know what I mean? So it's like Benoit, absolutely not, just because not only would it be a terrible PR move to do that, and WWE would never do that, just because it would be, like I said, it'd be terrible, terrible PR move. But just the image and the, just what you're at the end of the day, and it's really, really sad. A lot of wrestlers have said this about him as well. At the end of the day, as amazing as a wrestler as he was, and all titles that he received was well deserved. Put in so much work into the WWE, WCW, ECW, you name it. He has 100% has a Hall of Fame career. 100% has a Hall of Fame career. But just at the end of the day, the last image that you have with Chris Benoit is what he did. So it's unfortunate. You don't have that with Chyna. You don't have the last image of Chyna is what she did, from a criminal, heinous standpoint. She had her personal demons. She had her personal problems that, I really wish she had some intervention from someone, to really pour into her. She may have rejected it. I don't know the ins and outs as far as her personal life when she was with us. But at the same time, it's like, we don't, that's aside from her wrestling career. And I don't think it's enough to overshadow, her wrestling career. So that's my take on it. And I think that Chyna should be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, there's a lapse of time here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. I feel Chyna should be, because like you said, remember something. There's multiple people in the WWE Hall of Fame that have no personal problems with alcohol or with drugs. And like you said, with Chyna, she should be in. I mean, look at the barriers that Chyna broke. Her being on Playboy, doing everything she did. She's the first and only woman after the Continental Champion. She was the first woman entering in the Royal Rumble. She's broke a lot of barriers. So just by professional accolades alone and other things that she's helped do, put it in there. She had a squash match. She just obviously in the 17. She did great things, and like you said, the things she did in her personal life, that was her personal decision. It wasn't like you said, with a Sonny or with a Benoit, where it's like, okay, bad PR, that was her decision. You can't help what people tend to do in their personal lives. In the ring, definitely. Chyna, as he was saying, for his first day of the Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Got a comp.
Vader's a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Yeah. There's no argument for Vader.
The WWE ring one wasn't the best, but just look at what he did when he first came, attacking Gorilla Monsoon, which as a kid I thought that was real. and how they brought him in. Granted, of course, there's different analytical things that went on in the back that kind of assist his run, but Vader, by no question, definitely Hall of Fame.
Yep. Absolutely. Got some good comments regarding that. Got a comment saying if it's okay to honor her on Raw, why not put her in Hall of Fame? Absolutely. Because if she was so taboo for her career, wouldn't she have been honored or mentioned? Yeah, absolutely. Hall of Fame list goes like this: Owen, Bulldog, Pillman, Chyna, Vader. All these people should and need to be in the Hall of Fame. Yes, I think all of those names. Owen, Bulldog, Pillman, Chyna, and Vader, all of those need to be in the Hall of Fame. 100%. I 100% agree with that. Next question. Who did The Undertaker defeat at WrestleMania 14, ladies and gentlemen? Who did The Undertaker defeat at WrestleMania 14? You know why I'm giving you these Undertaker questions. You need to guess this, and you need to do it. Do it now. I do it for you. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Pops up. It pops up. You gotta prepare for it. You gotta wait for it and prepare for it at the end of the show, toward the end of the show. But it came, ladies and gentlemen. I do it for you. His brother Kane is what someone said. I actually am having a few Kane answers. That's right, absolutely. Kane is the correct answer. Kane is the correct. I want to hear that sample again. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I do it for you. I can play that over and over. I still get tweets on that from fans of the show. I love it. Every time someone tweets me about that, a fan of the show tweets me about that. I love it. I just smile from ear to ear because just on a whim, just listening to that. Do it now. I do it for you. And I just, the very fact that fits Booker T so much, just randomness. it just makes so much sense of how random that is. And I've always been a sucker for randomness. And I think that is absolutely random and absolutely hilarious. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into Raw and SmackDown review. What you got? Real quick, let's go over Raw and SmackDown results. You got Angle with this promo. Roman Reigns interferes. He's suspended. So that happens. Brock Lesnar comes out and beat the brakes off of him while he was handcuffed. Sasha Banks defeating Sonya Deville. Absolution, yes. Beats down Banks post-match. Kid Rock announced no, that was last week. Kid Rock announced for the WWE Hall of Fame. We barely talked about that, but I'm a fan of that. I think Kid Rock for the celebrity ring, I'm okay with that. This week, so Kid Rock was announced this week, but last week for this week was the Kurt Angle and Roman Reigns, so that was right. Alexa Bliss was after that. The Asuka thing, and then Bliss lost intentionally by count out. Braun Strowman comes out interrupted by the bar. Someone saying DX and NWO to be honored. Inducted in the Hall of Fame. Should be, I'd imagine. To be, I don't, that's not confirmation. But, yeah. So I don't know. DX and NWO. So that would make Shawn Michaels have 2 rings, which I'm cool with. But what's that? Yeah, Nash and Hall would have 2 rings. Hogan would have 2 rings, yeah. So DX and NWO. I think there's an argument for that. Strowman defeating Cesaro. Then Revival. It's one of those things. Revival was so good in NXT, but it's just, I don't know. I just can't get with them on Raw. I just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just, if I was just not connecting with me. Yeah, I mean, I like their old school look. I'm okay with it, but it's just, they just don't connect with me on the main roster. They don't connect with the audience too. The audience just don't care, which is sad. They beat Titus Worldwide. I mean, they're getting wins, but yeah, I'm not sold. Mark Henry Hall of Fame. Okay, the Absolution beats Sasha and Bayley this week, and then we talked about the Cena promo, Miz promo, and then that leads to Balor Club defeating the Miztourage, and then we get to the Ultimate Deletion. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on specifically? I mean, any Raw thoughts, but specifically the Ultimate Deletion event? Yes. Which was much better, by the way. Yeah.
One of those things where people wanted it so bad, they want to save their WWE, and you do, you're just like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was there, it happened, it was much better, TNA was okay. Now, thanks to the WWE Hall, because I just leave out and I came back to watch wrestling as well, the last 2 minutes got cut off, so I believe I was told by the Miro show.
Yes.
Okay, we did see one. There was some things that I thought was funny, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't hit the spot like it did in TNA. I just didn't.
Yeah, it didn't connect with me as much either. People were just crapping all over it. I don't think it was bad. I will say that. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was like horrible. It didn't connect with me as much as TNA. I guess we're biased because the TNA one was so good. And real quick, Mustafa Ali, I was watching 205 Live before the show. Mustafa Ali beat Drew Gulak. So it'll be him and Cedric at the finals of the Cruiserweight tournament. So they're giving Mustafa Ali some love. Very, very interesting there. Got a comment saying, I love the Revival, but I'm biased. I used to watch Dash here in Georgia when he was Stephen Walters. Sweet guy. Special shout out to Dash Wilder there. Another comment, Ultimate Deletion was good, just could have been a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible to me. But it was just, there was some to be desired. I wish there were more theatrics. I mean, I like the going into the Hardy Gates. I like Vanguard 1 coming out with the hologram. I liked all that. I like Rebby playing the piano again, talking about, and them King Maxwell and Lord Wolfgang and Senior Benjamin getting some love. Despite Hardy's arrest for the alcohol use, he did, there were some talks that the cameo would be edited out, but they decided to keep it in, which I think was okay. I mean, I think it was a good addition to the match. There were some points that was just kind of lull. The whole going into the Hardy ring and the dome of Hardy, the dome of deletion, which is funny because I remember when they actually had a show. They had a show, a TNA Impact Wrestling show there at the Dome of Deletion. They filmed it. I thought it was super cool. There was so many cool things about Broken Matt and Brother Nero during their Impact run. I think that was one of them. They have a whole show filmed at the Hardy compound, the Dome of Deletion. I don't remember it being called that at the time, but inside their garage.
I think another thing, maybe the thing about this now is reminiscent on the first one. And what was the first one called? Total Deletion?
Final Deletion.
Was that the first one? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then And then Apocalypto. Well, because Bray kept beating Matt, and it kind of made him into the whole broken state when he kept beating him. You know.
I think what was missing is this is this Bray and Hardy, which Bray characters, the people had all the forms of the Nero, but it go one. You know, of course, Little Game wasn't born yet. New edition. But the thing that made the final deletion great for the Apocalypto is that it was more than just Hardy.
Right.
Brother Nero. You had remember Lashley against with the Davey Richards, Eddie Evans.
Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah.
You had Lashley going against Eddie Evans. You had the Rock and Roll Express cameo.
Yep.
You had Brother Nero and Hardy. You had Abyss and Crazy Steve and that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was great because you had so many different.
And that's when that's when was Itchweed is when what Hardy was. Yeah, Itchweed. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was fun because everybody's like, what is going on? And I think that's probably what was missing here. It was just Hardy and Wyatt. That's it.
Right.
It wasn't like, okay, Hardy and Wyatt plus, I don't know, you could do the Miz in there.
Yep.
You could do like multiple people.
I agree.
I think that's why.
Put Kurt Hawkins in there. Why not? Put Kurt Hawkins in there. Yes. He's right. Titus Worldwide. Yeah. Put him in there. Why not? Well, he's on SmackDown. We'll probably keep him over. But here's the thing. I think you made a good point. I think you made a good point. I think that some additions should have happened with this one here, just like the other ones. Well, even with Final Deletion, there was still like some theatrics with it. There was like the pyro gun that he was trying to shoot Hardy with. And there was a bunch of pyro and stuff, and they went up to the hill at the end, and there was so much going on. There was so many good theatrics that was just surrounding the match. With this one, there was some spots, but it was just a lot of wrestling. We don't want that. It wasn't. It was. I don't care about that. I don't care about just a wrestling match. I don't want a hardcore match. I want the theatrics. I want all the bells and whistles that come with the ultimate, deletion. And I think that's what was missing. I think all the bells and whistles and the theatrics, I think there was left to be desired. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I don't think it was as bad as people always say. It wasn't very good. It was probably a little average to slightly below, but I don't think it was terrible. But it did left some to be desired, though. I think it did. I think it did do that. I think it just left some to be desired, and this is I cringed. I personally just almost threw up in my stomach, in my throat. I almost threw up when Bray was like, "I'm not done." I'm like, "Oh no! Wait a minute! You better be done. I do not want to see this feud again anymore. No, done. You better be." Nah. Well, they want to do part 2 because they're not going to film anything and air it. Because from what I heard, they didn't even show the match in front of the crowd. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to see it. I don't. Both of them. So there's chat. There's discussion that Bray Wyatt's is going to be repackaged. So I don't know how true that is, but someone saying not bad but average match. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So this whole well, I just heard that he's going to be repackaged. So I don't know if it's going to be Bray, just kind of doing away with the Bray Wyatt deal, which I don't think he should. Maybe some variations of Bray Wyatt's, but from what I've heard, it's going to, because the whole lake of reincarnation, him not being there, he's deleted, is over. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out. He needs something, poor guys. Was yeah, absolutely. Husky Harris. No, it's so funny because when he went into the lake of reincarnation, there was a part of me for a hot second that thought that he was going to come back as Husky Harris. I was waiting for it, and I was waiting to laugh, because I think if they would have done that, I would have just busted out laughing. Why not? I mean, he's already damaged goods. Why not? Why not just briefly bring him back as Husky Harris in this portion of the Ultimate Deletion match? Bring him back as Husky Harris. Why not? But overall, it wasn't terrible. But like I said, it wasn't very good either. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with them on. I do want to give a special shout out real quick to him saying, "I knew you'd come." That was the first time he said that, and I was a big fan. Bray Wyatt, I knew you'd come. So when he did that, I said, absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Terrible. Right. Right. Didn't one pull out like a little knife or something? Or was it a taser? I think it was a knife or something. I'm like, what? You don't pull out a knife as a U.S. Marshal. Right. Yeah. I think that was terrible. They should have brought out security. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It was confusing to me too. Yeah, I agree. Bringing out the whole U.S. Marshal thing to me was just you don't bring out. They should have brought out security, because it would have made him seem more real. I know we're supposed to suspend disbelief, but at least tie it all in. At least don't have any loose ends for me to say, okay, that's totally fake. And I think with the whole U.S. Marshal thing, like this, come on. You bring out security. Just don't bring out U.S. Marshals. He could have went to jail, and been shot if he was beating up U.S. Marshals. Come on, man. That don't make any sense at all. Trivia question. Who was the special enforcer in the main event of WrestleMania 14? Who was the special enforcer in the main event of WrestleMania 14? All right, so real quick, SmackDown before we get to the flavor of the week. Real quick, Daniel Bryan, amazing in-ring promo. Shinsuke defeating Rusev. I have no idea why they did that match again. It made sense because AJ Styles is injured, by the way. I hope he's okay for WrestleMania. He should be, hopefully. He got injured, undisclosed injury. I reported it this weekend as far as the Madison Square Garden. They pulled an angle to injure that he was injured, so forth. So the whole point that he was waiting a while to get in the ring, he's actually injured, so he didn't come in the ring at all. But it played out well because it kind of fit in the whole role of Shinsuke saying, I don't need your help. So it fit. It fit all together to me. Natalya beating Charlotte Flair was a bad idea to me. Charlotte Flair being in WrestleMania, defending the women's championship, losing. I don't care if they did the tease. No point at all for Natalya to win this match. She has no prominent spot on WrestleMania. No point in her winning at all. I think it was a bad call. Harper and Uso, that was pretty much self-explanatory. Harper was going to win. The gender thing, hyping up the U.S. title match. I'm okay with gender being in this spot, actually. And I think him and Randy Orton's a good spot. So I'm cool with that. Good, correct answer. That's correct. Mike Tyson. So, and then we got Becky Lynch and Naomi, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. I mean, similar to Absolution. Okay, so the Riot Squad, Ruby Riot's good, but Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, they make Absolution look like Daniel Bryan. I mean, that's as bad as, oh man, just bad. And then Daniel Bryan at the end, the angle was really good to me. I think it was fantastic. So it should be interesting. Like we talked about in the beginning of the show, I think it's I personally, we'll be there at Mania. And personally, I'm looking forward. This has become one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most. I'm looking forward to Reigns, Lesnar. I'm looking forward to Nakamura, AJ. I think it's a pretty solid card. I think, I don't see any dead spots. Last year was a very solid card. The only dead spot that we noticed was Orton and Bray. That was just cheesy and hokey and just, it was not good. But I don't see many dead spots in this one.
WrestleMania is a solid card. Maybe I missed it. Well, of course, I'm a little behind on some things due to some unfortunate personal events a few weeks ago. I just realized it was a triple threat with top 10 against the Miz, which I think is which is well done. Like you said, you got Asuka against Charlotte Flair. Of course, you're going to see Alexa Bliss against Nia Jax, and that's going to happen. And also, once again, the question is who's facing and who's heels?
Well, the Usos has been more of the faces for a while. They made a truce. They made a truce with the New Day probably a couple of months ago, somewhere around there. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Strowman. I love Strowman. I just think Strowman's talking too much.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Who's going to be his partner? Who do you think is going to be? No, I don't think he's going to win the tag titles with Goldberg. People were saying Elias, but he was talking about how for the second time we got to move. But Elias said he's going to do a performance. Elias becoming a babyface to me is just I don't want it to happen. It would make sense if it was Elias because it's kind of strange bedfellows have been feuding. My personal pick, I would pick Kurt Hawkins. I think that's the perfect way to end his losing streak. Have him be tag champ again with Braun Strowman. I think Kurt Hawkins would be over if he wins that match, and I think that would be my choice. Real quick, who competed in the Brawl for All finals at WrestleMania 15? Who competed in the Brawl for All finals at WrestleMania 15? All right, we got a few minutes left. Real quick, let's talk about these title changes of the flavor of the week. Here we go.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
All right, real quick, got a couple minutes. WrestleMania 7, the Nasty Boys, never been sold on the Nasty Boys, defeated the Hart Foundation for the Tag Team Championship. Hulk Hogan defeats Sergeant Slaughter for the WWE Championship. WrestleMania 8, we had Bret Hart defeated Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental Championship. Randy Savage defeating Ric Flair for the WWE Championship. 9, we saw Yoko beating Bret, and then Hogan beating Yoko in like 20 seconds. It was around 20 seconds, both for the WWE Championship. 10, we saw Bret get his retribution against Yoko, beating him for the WWE Championship. WrestleMania 11, Owen Hart and Yokozuna defeating the Smoky Guns for the Tag Team Championship. WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels defeating Bret Hart, Iron Man match. And then, of course, 13, Undertaker defeating Sid to win the WWE Championship. Real quick, interesting statistic there. 10 years between WrestleMania 4 and WrestleMania 13. So 10 WrestleManias. Every single one of them except for one had a WWE Championship title change. So very interesting statistic there. Except for WrestleMania 11 was the only one out of 10 years that the WWE Championship did not change hands. Yeah. Butterbean and part of the Smoking Guns, Bart Gunn. That is correct. Good job. Butterbean versus Bart Gunn. All right, I'm going to give one more trivia question. We literally got seconds left, and we got a minute and something left. So I'm going to give one more trivia question as we end. Who does Shane McMahon defeat to retain the European Championship at WrestleMania 15? Real quick, Evan, share your thoughts. What's your favorite match out of those?
Will be Bret defeating Piper. I always remember that. Great storyline with the Oscar title. Bret's eye was busted.
Yep.
Somebody's eye was busted. And you thought Piper was going to turn heel. Don't throw a Piper. It was great. That was my favorite. Then King would be Savage against Flair. Of course, we would end up seeing this match a million times over in WCW. But it wasn't even their best match, but it's just a storyline between Savage taking Elizabeth and trying to get Elizabeth in.
Yeah.
Kind of thought that was real too. And, that dream comes true.
That storyline was amazing with the doctored magazines and all that. Yeah. I loved it.
For the first time, real quick ever, you had two commissioners actually get involved. You had Commissioner Piper make the match. You had Gorilla Monsoon, the actual president, to restart the match.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, the whole Flair and Savage thing over Elizabeth, that angle was super hot. Good choices. Mine says Michael's Brett. We got a comment saying Flair Savage at WrestleMania was underrated. Yeah, mine is Michael's Brett. I think just that whole deal, the Iron Man, just the boyhood dream has come true. Just the emotion that came with that was amazing. Real quick, I don't have an answer, so I got to give it to you. X-Pac, he defeated X-Pac. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. Rosa Mendes, what an amazing interview. Thank you so much. Renaissance Rosa Mendes is what I'm calling her. She says she's going to rechristen herself to that. It's fun to give people their gimmick names on the Pancakes and Powerslam show. Rebrand people here on the Pancakes and Powerslam show. So fun, so awesome. Thank you so much, Rosa, for being a part. Definitely one of my favorite interviews in the 6 years. Speaking of 6 years, we're having a 6-year anniversary around WrestleMania time. Be sure to stay tuned with that. And of course, we have WrestleMania coming up. We got so much stuff. We'll be there covering. I'll be there covering WrestleMania weekend. Evan will join me, and we'll have so much fun doing so much coverage during the weekend, being super busy. So be sure to follow him at tech_UTMR to see where he has planned. Of course, follow the Pancakes and Powerslam show at Crave Wrestling. Follow me at Chris Prolific. Evan and I will be joined together at WrestleMania, having so much fun that weekend, doing so much coverage, being so busy like we were last year, but it's so thrilling and so fun and so exciting. So if you're there, be sure to connect with us, and we will do the same. More announcements as far as where we're going to be and what we're going to do. Thank you so much for being a part of the listening tonight and for being interactive. Great interaction as always with the live stream. Be sure to check out soon. Wrestling Inc. YouTube is where the show is going to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. Enjoy. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your week of wrestling. Have a good night. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, I do it for you. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all. Have a good night.